Design Thinking, a presentation by Gaurav Shah. The task: how would you go about designing a dedicated smartphone for the visually impaired persons? What are the various features, functions, and apps it should have? What should be its form, size, feel, and function? The design process includes 5 steps. Number 1, empathize. Number 2, define. Number 3, ideate. Number 4, prototype. And number 5, test. Let's start with number 1, empathize. To perform this part of the design process, I blindfolded myself and tried to use my phone for 10 minutes. During that time, I learnt about some of the important features that were lacking or that I couldn't use just because I was visually impaired. Along with gaining such personal experience, I tried to do some research of my own to understand from real visually impaired people what issues they were facing while using their phone. This brings me to step 2, define. Here are some of the problems that I faced while using my phone blindfolded. Number 1, finding the phone. Number 2, opening the phone. Number 3, opening apps and performing basic functions. Number 4, response. That is, knowing that my phone has registered my input and is working to give me an output. Now that we know the problems, it's time for step 3, ideate. With the problems laid out, here are some solutions to those problems. Note that most of my solutions are software based. I believe that keeping a similar form factor will allow for easier manufacturing and widespread availability of such phones for the visually impaired. Here is my approach to solving the problem. We clearly know that humans have 5 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Now, just because the sight is impaired doesn't mean we can't use the other senses. Of course, smell and taste also have to be removed from the equation. It would be absurd to see someone try to lick their phone or smell their phone to receive an output. So, we're left with hearing and touch. Let's see how we can use them. At this point, I would like to introduce you to someone. Meet Thea.
Hello, I am Thea, your new virtual assistant.
Hey Thea, where's my phone?
Hello, Gaurav, your phone is here. Hello, Gaurav, your phone is here.
Unlock phone.
Unlocking phone now.
Okay Thea, message Puranjay.
Messaging Puranjay. What should the messages be? Messages app.
Now, let's talk about some additional features that can be added to improve the functionality of such a phone. We know that such technology exists, but a culmination of these features will allow for a better user experience. Number 1, an infrared sensor to measure the distance from surfaces. This can act as a warning system that they may bump into something.
Warning, surface ahead. Warning, surface ahead.
Next up, image detection. We've seen this technology in the Google reverse image search before. Now, this can be used to identify images sent by people over various social media platforms.
Puranjay has sent an image. Image detection activated. Forest landscape.
Web surfing is a very important part of our life. I want to utilize artificial intelligence and a text to speech engine to help with the visually impaired people web surf. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to read the economics Wikipedia page. Now, the page contains a lot of unnecessary items such as the heading, search bar, the navigation bar, and other such items which the user does not benefit from reading. The artificial intelligence engine would skip over such items and directly direct our user towards the content. Let me give you an example. Hey Thea, research economics.
Reading the Wikipedia article on economics. Economics is the social science that's
Given the pandemic and our time constraints, I wasn't able to complete steps 4, which is prototype, and 5, which is test. But I still did make plans on how I would accomplish them. Step 4, prototype. Build a Python program that will recognize a voice command for searching your phone. It should then respond back using a text to speech engine saying that my phone is there.
Hello Gaurav, your phone is here.
To test this, I would blindfold myself. From across the room, I would try to find my phone by giving the audio command. If it worked, well and good. If not, it's back to the drawing board. After this first stage of prototyping and testing, I would go back and try to reiterate this process with a larger sample. Maybe even get more visually impaired people to test this out. That is always going to be ideal. But since I wasn't able to do it, you can only listen to my plans. Yet, it is important to remember that design is iterative. After testing, the next stage is always going to be tweaking and back to the drawing board. I would start by defining my problems, brainstorming solutions, prototyping and testing, and then doing this all over again until my product is perfected. With that message, I bid you adieu. Thank you and have a nice day.